Greetings, everyone. A popular activity in ESL conversation classes is called Desert Island. I talked with a colleague about a better way to do it than the traditional way.
David, I just had my students do the desert island activity.
Oh, yeah? How did it go?
Well, I had seen this described in a book of activities, and I expected to hear some pretty good discussions as students agreed and disagreed with each other. But, to tell the truth, there really wasn't much engagement. In the end, I'm not sure what the authors were expecting beyond just having students talk for a while.
Yeah, I've had a similar reaction when I've done this. So I revised the activity to make it seem more realistic and to give students a reason to really listen to each other.
Well, those sound like good goals. The way the activity is presented in the book is to tell the students to imagine that they will be living on a desert island. Each one makes a list of three things that they bring. Then, in small groups, they tell each other what they had on their lists. I admit it's not a situation that students probably will ever experience. Can you tell me how you made it more realistic?
Sure. We often hear in the news about people needing to quickly leave their homes due to an approaching wildfire or flood or tsunami. In fact, some of our students may have had such an experience, or they may have known somebody who did. So I changed the situation from going to a desert island. Here is how I get my students started. So here's the directions for the first step. You need to leave your home in 10 minutes because there is a wildfire near your neighborhood. You can only take three things with you in your car. So make a list of these three things. And, and then I've also added this part. All living things like your family, friends, and pets have already escaped, so don't include them on your list.
Interesting. So, having this situation, students are thinking about what is really important to them, things that they'd hate to lose in a fire or a flood.
Right.
Off the top of my head, the first thing on my list would be my dog. I couldn't stand to lose him.
That's understandable. And naturally, most of us would want to first save our family members. But I think to get more variety, it's interesting to hear what things everyone would save, since everyone would have some things on their list that were different from others. So that's why I included that last sentence.
That makes total sense. So, it does seem a lot more realistic. Okay, then you said you also improved that activity by giving the students a real reason to listen to each other?
Yep. So after students make their list of three things, they will get with a partner and talk about what they would take with them in their car. And then after they've done this little discussion for a while, I have them join another pair of classmates and form a group of four. Then in this group, they do not tell what is on their own list. Instead, they tell these other group members in this new group what their first partner had told them was on his or her list.
Okay, so let's say you and I were a pair in step one. And on my list, let's see.
Let me interrupt you here. You can see that it takes a little time to really think about the three items. So, what really helps is for the teacher to tell the students a day or two in advance that they'll be doing this activity and tell them to be thinking about the three things that they'd want to say from the wildfire. Or at least give them a few minutes to make their list before getting together with a partner.
Yes, that would certainly help. But, for now, I'll just think of something. So let's see. Oh, I think I would take my flash drive, my voice recorder, and a painting that's on my living room wall. So we would talk about my both of our lists, and I would tell you why I chose those three items, and you would tell me about your list.
Right. And we wouldn't just tell each other about our lists. In other words, we wouldn't just monologue. We'd ask each other questions to get more details about why we chose the items that we did.
I see. After that, you and I would join a new pair of students, for example, Jeannie and Marie, and you would tell them about my flash drive, voice recorder, and painting, and why I chose those, right?
You got it. That means that I had to be listening closely to what you had told me. Now, I don't want students to be writing what their partners had said. I want them to be listening carefully. So here are the step 2 and step 3 directions. So direction step 2, with a partner, discuss your lists. Do not take notes during this step. After your partner says something, you should use a rejoinder. Also ask follow-up questions. And then the directions for step 3 are, after your step 2 discussion, you will form a group with another pair of classmates. You will tell your new group members what your partner had told you in step 2. Also, your group members will tell what they discussed in step 2. And you should use rejoinders and ask follow-up questions.
So in step three, I could hear you tell Amy and Jeannie about what I had said was on my list and why I wanted to save those things. And if you made a mistake, I could correct you, right?
Exactly. And Amy and Jeannie could ask follow-up questions to us about our lists and vice versa.
Now that sounds like fun. And I would really be curious to find out how well you had understood me.
Right. And of course, you would tell them what I had told you was on my list.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And it would be fun to hear Jeannie and Amy tell us what were on their lists and why.
When I've done this, it's amazing how closely they listen to each other and ask questions. There tends to be a lot of laughing, especially when someone makes a mistake about what they had heard and have to be corrected. Now, to make this really about conversation techniques, we don't want students just monologuing about their lists. So it's important to tell them to use listening expressions called rejoinders like these. So listening responses or rejoinders that show you are listening. I see, You were happy to hear what was said. Great, wonderful. Or you are surprised. Wow, that's amazing. Or you feel sympathy. Oh no, that's terrible. So we want them to ask each other questions and especially follow-up questions. They'll have a lot of chances to practice these in step 2 with their first partner and in step 3 when they join 2 other students and are in group 4, in a group of 4. So in the notes below, I'll give some links to exercises for rejoinders and follow-up questions that you can download for free to use with your students. It's best if they practice these in some lessons before doing this wildfire activity. Also, in the notes below, I'll include a link where you can read about this better way to do this activity. Also, you'll find links to other videos about better ways to do other popular ESL activities. So, thank you for watching.